All right. This is Credit Rockstars podcast episode 3. We're doing this every single week. We are absolutely loving it. We're having so much fun in the studio. We love the types of discussions that are coming from this podcast so far in all of our social media groups. And today we're going to talk about buying power. A lot of you guys that are watching us on social media, you see us using that term a lot. And what we're looking to do is change the game when it comes to credit. This is no longer about credit. This is about buying power. This is about you. This is about possibility. So today we're going to talk about buying power. What does that mean? And I want to do this today because it's Friday. We're going to the holidays, and I want to send everyone off to be excited, right? Holidays are about love, about friendship, about family, all that. But it can also be stressful. So I want to leave you guys with something really positive going into the weekend of the holidays, and it's buying power. It's your goals. It's what you're looking to accomplish. So we have David on today as well, who works closely with me. He's an industry professional when it comes to coaching. He's a thought leader. I mean, he just does so much. In fact, he's one of the main reasons why he helped bring this out of us in Credilife when it comes to these new possibilities for our clients. So thank you, David, and thanks for being on the show again.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. It's Buying Power Friday.
Yes, it is.
That's awesome.
I like it. I like that. That's cool. Yeah, Buying Power Friday. That's perfect. Well, you know what? I'm just going to be transparent. I want to talk more about buying power because, like I said to the audience, you're the one that brought that out of me. When we started to sit down and go through Credilife and everything that we do for our clients, for our members, you really helped analyze the type of things that we do for our clients and our passion behind it. And you quickly determined the difference of what we're doing compared to any other company out there. And it wasn't really about credit. It was about buying power. I mean, talk to the audience. I'd love to hear what you told me. I'd love for them to hear that too, that passion behind it, what you saw that we were doing and your interpretation of it.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. I think at the end of the day, when we look at some of these things, credit has such a negative tone, especially at this day and age, and especially folks that are needing some help. Mm-hmm. And what happens is a lot of times psychologically, it doesn't put us in a great place. Yeah. And that's already a negativity, right? So it's credit, indebted to someone. It's horrible. The whole concept is terrible. Debt is bad. Credit is bad. But that's just really not true. It's just, there's different ways of using every tool that's available to us. Yep. And that includes in the financial realm as well. And so as I hear you guys talk about the business you're in, what you guys are trying to do, the passion you have for your clients, the coaches and folks, Brian wanting people to really learn better skill sets. And all of a sudden you guys are looking at this industry and the service you're providing is no longer just dealing with some notation on a credit report, yep. Trying to fight that and get that off and then call it a day. You guys actually went above and beyond, really start opening up a lot more services, things like coaching with an intent to make it more available to educate your customer base, to help them understand what's going on in the process, the how-to. But on top of that, really open up discussion around the idea that you can learn some financial tricks and you can learn some financial education no matter what age you're at. And so it's learning new skills along the way. But on top of that, this is a part I don't know if the industry or your listeners really understand why you guys focus on the credit build-up component. Yeah. And that's something that you and I start talking about because in this industry, as we research it and study it, and not so much from the repair side of the shop, we're really looking at people that are high performers, high wealth folks, business people. How do they use and leverage credit to get what they want and really continue to advance, not just their financial wealth, but really the position of their families. Yep. And we really feel empathetic with everyone going through whatever situation because we're all human. We all go through similar things. Yep. And at the end of the day, we want people to really see the world, see themselves from a different light. And so at least even fundamentally, their emotional, their mindset, right, is at a much better place because we know when we feel better emotionally, everything else tends to fall in line. Yep. If emotionally we're struggling, it's just really hard to even do
When it
some of
rains,
the
it
most
pours.
basic things. And
Yep.
so, this is where we want to take the conversation and really want to push the conversation and invite the folks to participate and really looking at, how else can they do better? How else can we help them demystify some stuff? And maybe just, knock some old ideologies, some
Just
of the
out.
hats and masks they put on or people place on them. Just get rid of that. At least identify it, right? If you
Yep.
choose to put it on, I can't help you with that. But at
Yeah,
least we're
exactly.
going to help you see, hopefully, a truer version of yourself and how you can take control of all these things.
Yep. Well, one part that excites me is, you know how I am. I just love helping people, and the part that I'm excited about everything that we're doing and the transition and the culture, that change that's happening in our groups is anyone can do this. You know what I mean? Like, yes, do we work with also wealthy people and high professional or, sales performance, all those type of things? Yes, we do. But if you really look at people in general, a lot of times I feel like the segment of the type of people we end up helping are pushed to the side, and they feel that, right? It's like, a lot of times when you have bad credit or have gone through an issue, you pay more for things, you pay for more insurance. It's hard to get certain loans. Even if you do, you're paying high interest rates. Auto loans, a good example of that. There's a lot of things in place that could continue to make you feel like you continue to get beat down, so to speak. It's hard to get back up. But the reality is, if you start looking at this differently and don't play into those thoughts and those feelings, then you start looking at it differently. And that's what I love about buying power. It's like, you know what? I want my buying power back. Here's what I want. And then you start taking all the steps and changes with your mindset and mind frame to start going towards that path. And before you know it, especially with the help of our groups or with Credilife, or our DIY plan, whatever it is, whatever route that makes sense for you, all those things are put in place for a reason to help you take those steps. So like for our listeners, I challenge you right now, think about it. What is it that you want, right? What excites you? Do you want a mortgage? Do you just want financial freedom? You don't want to have to worry about when you go to Kohl's or Target and you want to partake in some savings. You can actually apply at the counter right then and there and be approved. You don't want to have that feeling of shame or feeling like you can't do something. Maybe you want to travel more. We talked about this on Wednesday. You want to utilize credit cards in a way that you can get cashback rewards and travel more. There's so many different things. So what you need to do is identify what excites you, what makes you happy. That's your buying power. Credit's just a tool to get you there.
Absolutely. I really like the fact that we're pushing on this. And one thing that you really brought up, the way I look at that is, I don't know why. But for some reason, we as a society, we have this terrible habit, and especially in capitalism, I think sometimes I give capitalism a bad name.
Yeah.
Is that when people are injured or they're struggling or they're hurt or, in this case, financial challenges in terms of credit, it seems like the first thing we want to do is marginalize them, right? And then the next thing is we want to penalize them. And for me, I look at that and it's intentionally designed that way sometimes.
Yep.
And, that's how when you marginalize someone, that's how you can take advantage of them. And then all of a sudden it comes back really on the back end, you start hitting them with more rates, higher rates, penalties, and all these tremendous additional added stress and demand on the financial side, you're making it 100, 1,000 times harder for them to come out of that. And then you want to further embarrass them. You further want to push them down a rabbit hole, right? With all the pressure, the way you talk to them, the way you embarrass them, and I just don't see any value in that. And I think, helping people is to help them see a better version of themselves.
Yes.
Right. And the buying power component is really one element of that. Really we want our listeners to really see themselves differently, understand that credit is a tool, it's a vehicle. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and max out on your cars, spend, right? Have no intention of paying back your creditors. That's not what we're advocating. That's not what buying power really means, because that is a very short burst of buying power, because you're going to make, right? Bad behavior is you're going to make it harder for yourself. Essentially, you will eliminate any buying power. But in this way, it's becoming more responsible. This way, you have ways to recover, ways to get back your buying power. And so you learn how to manage everything better and better, and you feel more empowered. All of a sudden, I want you guys to connect the dots to really understand that what we're trying to advocate for you and teach you is the same thing the top 1%ers are already doing or learning, right? Since they're youth and since they're young, and they're being brought up, they're being cultivated to understand how to leverage various vehicles to continue to open new ventures, be successful. I have to go on the limb and really bet that majority of the folks, or good percentage of folks in the group, or people that be listening to this podcast, are college educated. Perhaps you probably have several master's degrees or PhDs, all the way to folks that where traditional school may not be their the default route, right? But they're extremely entrepreneurial. They're hard workers. They innovated. So it doesn't really matter. I think that I want to keep challenging, demystify that. I think a lot of times people feel like there's a particular avatar of people that need credit help. I just don't think that's really true.
And it's not.
Right?
I mean, we've found through Credilife in our clientele, it's not true. But there is that perception. There's that perception that it's someone that's always been struggling. It's someone that doesn't know how to manage their money. It's been a perpetual cycle. And
they're just bad people. They're irresponsible. They deserve to be hurting.
Exactly. It's like that mindset. But the reality is, like we've talked about, it's more than that. It's people that have just gone through an event in their life. Maybe it was a divorce. Maybe it was a business that failed. Maybe it was medical. Things happen. Maybe someone in your family had a medical issue and you took time off just to help them. I mean, there's so many different things, but the reality is it comes down to the fact that they were just going along in their life and something happened to them that ultimately caused a negative impact on their credit. And when that happened, like we talked about before, you fall into this cycle where all of a sudden you're marginalized. And it's like, I'm paying more in interest. I'm paying more for these things. I'm paying more for that. Now you have more financial stress. Now you may fall into having a hard time keeping up with your bills, and then you overdraft in your checking, and then you get fees. There's a lot of different things that happen. I don't want to dive into that too much, but it just comes down to the fact that we're all just people, and it's, some people are very educated. We've helped people that make a very nice income, yearly income, and you'd assume at first, like, well, how are they in this situation? Well, it comes down to that this can happen to anyone. And so it's just about, the part that I get excited about buying power is, like you brought up before about the credit card thing. That's a short burst of buying power. If you're all of a sudden get credit cards and you max them out, well, then you haven't learned anything yet. You're not looking at it the right way. I look at buying power as understanding what it is that I want, and then as I start taking the steps towards getting that, I respect it more. I have value of that more. And when I have that value of what I've done, I want to protect it. It's just like when you're growing up, and like this, how my dad was with me. He made me buy a lot of my own things. I had to get my own car, and it's because he wanted me to respect what it took to get that. Then I would take care of my vehicle. Whereas if he just went and got me a vehicle, more than likely I wouldn't take care of it. I wouldn't clean it. I wouldn't care. Right? There's all these things that happen. So it's like, I look at it very similar now that I'm older. It's the same thing. There's certain things that I'm doing in my life goals that I want to hit. That's my buying power, And as I take these actions towards it, I just have more value of what it is I'm doing, and then I want to protect it, And that's what we want to instill in our clients and our members, is that same type of feeling. One, you can do it, number one. And then number two, when you get it, we hope that the type of education we give you, you're going to value what you've done for yourself, because it really is powerful, and you're going to naturally make those better choices anyways.
I love that. And the part I want to encourage people to understand and think even more, a lot of times we talk about this kind of stuff, it's around retail credit power, right? Buying credit cards, you can go to the store, purchase food, clothing, vacation, whatever the case might be. But part of that, learning about the buying power, and this is obviously one aspect of that. But if you really start understanding and expanding your mind and really, really be more intentional of learning, I love to encourage people to think a lot more about how this can transfer into things that can generate more income for you.
Yes.
This could really start getting you into position to participate maybe in a course type of situation and get into a business, a small local retail business.
Yep.
Right? From everything from there to getting yourself additional education, because sometimes great education doesn't mean 4 or 5 years in schooling and whatnot. There's a lot of great programs that for you to get certified, to learn in shorter period of time. But anything decent and quality, you're looking at $5,000 to $10,000, $20,000 still. But if you look at a greater perspective, right? It's if you're committed to it, it's a good program. You know, solid. There's a career or income opportunity behind that. Then you can figure out the ROI. But you still need something to get you going, to get into the door.
Yep.
And sometimes you may have to leverage credit to get there.
Yes.
Right? And so it's a lot more than just simply, can I survive today? Can I survive this horrific situation I'm in, or this turbulence? That's really, I at least personally, I find that it's very difficult to make it sustainable every single day. I'm just going to grind that part of life out, and not having something greater and better on the other side for me to know the storm. I can get to an island, right? Get past the storm somewhere is peaceful, beautiful, right? Where we can really live our life in a much better condition, in better ways. And so it's simply just not about credit, about purchasing in a retail perspective, or, just live a basic life. But the transition of mindset, start realizing, hey, it's pretty powerful if I have, let's say, credit and buying power, a couple of cards that could be $5,000, $10,000 on standby. So what does that mean? My car could break down. I don't have to worry about how I'm going to get it fixed. At least I can get it taken care of, right? So I can continue to do and live my life. Right? And then, like some of the stuff I just mentioned, education. Okay, moving on to small businesses, participating in, there's so many more vehicles to invest nowadays, like crowdfundings. Okay, so there's so many things going on and so many options that I just want to encourage people to really think that a little bit differently. So you can realize and actually initially visualize how you can participate in that new economy. No matter what your background is, however your situation is. It may not be tomorrow, but it may not be, may not be 6 months, right? But it can happen. That option's not off the table. And that's one of the things that you guys talk about a lot, is that you guys are in the possibility business. It's really, again, it's that mental shift. It's like, yes, we can. Yes, if you want to go after one thing, you might starting off with wanting to get a mortgage for your home. Awesome. Right? You have a purpose behind that. But after that, what is behind that?
Next?
We never end. And
it's
so,
never ending.
But the key is learning great education, the how to. And then, get your mind straight and be open, and you go much further.
Well, and the one thing, too, I know that we're going longer today than we have, which is I'm fine with. I look at it like the one thing that I've always been able to do is I'm empathetic to my clients because I've been there. It's like my path, my buying power was always evolving for me in my life. So like when I was 18, I'll make this quick, but when I was 18, I got reached out by my biological father, who I didn't know my whole life. And I went out there to see him for the first time when I was 18. He was in California, and all of a sudden I have this whole family there that I never knew, right? And so I decided to move there. At that point, I had moved from Minnesota to Texas, then I went to California. And there, he was in the real estate industry. He's a broker. And so I was in a position where I could start working with him in his company. And I worked as an assistant, actually, for one of his top people, Jason Peterson. Great experience for me at a young age, But I was still young. And so I've always been a really hard worker. And so I'm working with him. I'm putting in the hours. I got my real estate license. I got my notary. With his help, of his kind of guidance, and coaching along the way as a mentor, as also my boss. But I just did not know how to manage money. And so what happened was, at a young age, I was a part of the downturn of the economy. And so before you know it, I didn't really have any opportunity to make the money I was. I was making a lot of money at a young age, but I had credit cards, I had auto loan, I had all these things. Well, before you knew it, I'm behind on my credit cards. I have them being sent to they're being charged off. They're sent to collection. I even had a repossession. I mean, this is, I'm the CEO of Credilife, so this happened to me. I get it. I fell into this cycle where, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm still working hard. I'm trying to figure out, well, where can I work? What other better opportunities do I have? And so that was like my path. I even ended up having to move back home to Minnesota with my family. But then from there, things started evolving because of that experience and what I went through, and then having to climb back out of that and start taking care of those things. That's where it kind of started for me. And then I started to respect credit and buying power. I saw what it could do, and I knew that I didn't want to have that happen again. And then for me, I've always been interested in entrepreneurship, business, that sales, that type of working environment for me excites me. And so those are the type of jobs that I got into, and all those ultimately led up to me eventually starting Credilife. And even then, that added responsibility of owning a company and having employees, yes, it's stressful, but was another thing that was good for me. And it continues to have me look at other opportunities that will benefit the company, benefit our clients, benefit my employees so they do better in life. And it continues to motivate me. So like my buying power now is about, how can I provide for my family, have a nice place for them to live so my girls can go to school and learn and have opportunity. Credilife, continue to do better for our clients, doing something that the industry has never done before. And now owning another business, so it's like, my buying power is different, but the point is, I was right there. I didn't come from in money. I was there the same as almost everyone else. And so like I had to go through that same type of stuff. I had to figure it out. And what got me through it was hard work, dedication, and also who I surrounded myself with. That was actually a big one too. Purposely surrounding myself around people that could show me the way, that were positive influences. All these things played a role, but to me, that all equals buying power in the end. It was these goals of mine. And so that's the reason why I get really excited, and with your help bringing that out, because now we can further provide that to our members, to our clients, and really anyone that watches these podcasts, that I want them to know that if I can do it, you can do it, basically. You know what I mean? So it's cool stuff.
Well, I love that you share the story, and part of that is really we are all young at once,
Yep.
and majority of us never grew up with the type of financial education and discipline or how to,
Yep.
right? And what happened is a lot of times when you're younger, your parents are maybe perhaps just naturally that way, more responsible financially, or they gone through challenging times themselves,
Yep.
and they knew the importance of good habits, and all they're trying to do is protect you. And what happened is they're teaching you really having an adverse
Yeah.
effect to that message of credit is bad, debt is bad. You don't want to owe anything. You don't. And what happened is you start feeling like I can't have anything, or I have to wait so long before I can enjoy anything. And as a natural, teenager, right, early 20s, you start to rebel. You go through that rebellion stage.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then all these combination things, all of a sudden you're like, oh man, how did I end up here? And on top
Yep.
of that, right, we talk about student loans a lot.
Oh, yes.
And you go to college. College has been heavily pushed and prep, and for the last 10, 15 years, if
Yep.
not longer, where the whole idea, if you don't go to college, you don't have a college degree or master's degree, you're not going to have a job, your life is ruined, and everybody's flooding down to the local college, to universities, and really have no clue what they're doing. But what happened is along the way, all they did is, bank up and collect up a whole bunch of bad debt
Yep.
that did not give them and prepared them powerful earnings and understand how to manage those things, and then emotionally, right, under cultivated. And so all these combination is just I mean, just imagine it's like an avalanche coming down. And so this is why I'm excited about doing this. Sydney's excited about being part of the show. Brian and other folks that we want to bring on, and that's one reason we talked about launching the Credit Rockstar membership program, where a lot of folks that may be on the fringe, if you guys haven't heard us talk about this, this program is really designed for those of you guys that may have questions. You're tire kicking, you're trying to figure some stuff out. Maybe you're emotionally or financially strapped at a place you can't really dive in to take advantage of the awesome service Credilife is providing, in terms of the full service. That program is really designed for you guys, right? So we're soft launching that, and we're going to put that in. And part of the conversation we're going to have there is expansion of this, but a lot more than just chit-chatting. It's really about a lot more interactive conversation and really knowing your situation. You get to submit your questions. We're going to talk about it on air, live, and if you're able to participate in the live session, we get to have a great discussion. And the other components that, this side of the table, in the way where Sydney and I come from, we are really encouraged to help you guys expand your thoughts and minds and ideas on how to, really improve your life, but also really on the business side, and also whether it's a side hustle income or preparing a career shift or taking advantage of the digital space. Whatever that happens to be, there's plenty to talk about. And partially is, with Jared being open and Brian open, sharing the stories is really their journey and how they're even opening up, right? In terms of, like you talked about, new additional buying power. So we're really excited about that, and hope you guys take advantage of that and get signed up before we launch our first session in January. And so look for details. And, thanks for doing this podcast today, Jared.
It was fun.
And so I'm going to kick it back to you and let you wrap it up.
And everything there that David's talking about, awesome opportunity. We're going to have the Credit Rockstars podcast. You're going to see us every single week. 2-3 times a week is the goal. But more importantly, when it comes to the Credit Rockstars online coaching membership, we're going to be really going into detail in a group community setting on credit repair tactics, credit building, giving you support there, but also what David and Sydney can bring to the table is helping everyone look at their situation differently. Maybe you have goals of business, maybe you have goals of mindset change, whatever it is. We're going to be able to implement all that into our coaching program, which we'll be doing through Zoom and things like that. So right now it's $29 a month as an introductory rate. It's going to be just absolutely amazing. I'm very, very excited to be launching this. It's going to help fit that sector of people that are looking to do things on their own. Obviously, Credilife will continue to be here as an industry leader for helping people professionally when we handle things for you and work on your behalf and help you through things as well. But once again, thank you guys so much for your time. So excited for next week. Go into the holidays. It's about buying power. It's about your life. It's about possibility. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next week.